YISA has legitimately, consistently, in such a welcoming and collaborative manner for decades, made the art scene in Manitoba and across the country far more representative than it has ever been. And he has been a proponent for ensuring that Black voices and Black representation are not excluded, are not silenced, are not erased within the context of not only Manitoba, but nationally. That is back-breaking work. That is a heavy load to carry. And he has done it with nothing but kindness and authenticity for, again, decades. Can we please just, again, acknowledge Isa? I'm very grateful to be able to be here today, and in my capacity as the MLA for Union Station, I'm grateful to be able to congratulate the Canadian Black Artists United on behalf of our NDP caucus and our leader, Rob Canoe, on behalf of my own self, on this monumental moment in time. This is a historic moment. You know, I'm someone who has been passionate about the arts throughout my entire life. I'm fortunate to have been raised in a household where art and Black artists and Black voices were not just important, they were foundational to how we were raised to see the world. And growing up here as a first-generation Canadian, I am Nigerian, I am Igbo, I have an understanding and an appreciation for how Black people have contributed to the very fabric of this country. And not everyone has that. Not everyone has that appreciation and understanding of how integral Black people have been to how this country has been evolving for a very long time. And the efforts of Canadian Black Artists United will ensure that Black voices, that Black artistry, that our lived experiences, our history, our present, and our future will never again be erased or minimized. This is an incredibly historic moment because it is being led by and self-determined by Black artists. And that cannot be overstated. And so I'm grateful to be able to share this space and hold this space with all of you today as we get to be here for a historic moment. And as we get to support the work of YISA and all of these incredible artists who every single day make not only our communities here in Manitoba, as Senator has very well said, better for all, but for everyone across the country. And I'm excited to know that the narrative around this is happening in a prairie province, is happening here in Winnipeg, here in Manitoba, because Black art and Black voice in the prairies is so often overshadowed by Ontario or, further out east. Manitoba, the prairies, we have our own important narrative here. We have incredible artistic change makers. And it is incredible to me that it's so important it's being established and led and announced here today. So again, congratulations to all of those who contributed to this historic moment. And I look forward to all of us in this room and well beyond this space working together to support Canadian Black Artists United as they move forward and ensure that Black artists and Black voices that are truly a part of the fabric of this country continue to be amplified, celebrated, and affirmed. Thank you.
Having been a part of the Creative Foundation at a young age, where I was introduced to some great mentors such as Isa, who had taught me that there's no limitation to whatever you try doing. Just get started, do your best, learn, and grow until you find your success. I've taken those life lessons with me, and I've always been appreciative of those times in my life. So thank you, Isa. When I look at the vision statement for what the Canadian Black Artists United is all about, it's essentially going to be a collaborative environment where individuals, artists, can create, they can innovate, and they now have a home to exhibit their work on a local, national, and global stage. As Senator Bovey had said, it's most crucial that there's going to be an opportunity for these artists to get their much needed resources to grow and to cultivate their talents. So I feel very proud that we're seeing another chapter in Canadian history, Black Canadian history, I should say, that's now going to be introduced. I also feel very positive looking at front and center all the young faces that are some excited, some not so excited. They haven't probably yet seen the gallery, but I know the future for Black artists will be very bright, and I can't wait to see what impact that will do for the youth in Canada and possibly globally. So I thank you for your time and enjoy the gallery.
This is indeed a special day, and I have to say to our elder, your drumming was very moving. And isn't it interesting that he drummed on a circle drum, and to my right are drums that relate to the culture we're celebrating today. And isn't it interesting how it's circles that bring us together? So Elder, thank you very much. Chief, MLAs, artists, I saw your work earlier. It's stunning. And Yisa, how do I say thank you? How do I say congratulations? So in bringing greetings from my Senate colleagues, I congratulate you, Yisa, and everyone involved in organizing Canadian Black Artists United and this inaugural event and exhibition. I applaud you connecting our arts to the rest of the world, and that's what I want to talk about. The timing of this transformational organization is serendipitous, as I mentioned in a speech in the Chamber of the Senate of Canada just this past week. I think this is a very important step in recognizing Canada's Black artists, in stemming racism, and in honestly spreading your histories to the rest of Canada and Canadians. You, my brother, talked about the relationship between our Indigenous peoples and our Black peoples and the others of us in this room. And I want to tell you I work with all in the Senate, and I can't applaud what you said more. With this inauguration of Canadian Black Artists United, I believe the stars really are aligned, converging with a number of national and international events, and it is more than fitting. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you from Canadians who are hungry to know about you, your artistic traditions, your dreams, and your vision. Yisa, you know I am here to help in the best way I can. My late husband, Jon Gerrard, used to say, and I quote, "We are all better off when we are all better off," end quote. You, with Canadian Black Artists United, are making us all better off. What else is going on in this constellation of Black art and Black recognition? Canada has been given a signature opportunity to present the voices of Black Canadians in an international forum. The Pan-African Heritage Museum, due to open in Ghana in late 2023. We are also in the second half of the UN's International Decade for Peoples of African Descent, running 2015 to 2024. And I'm now in the throes of organizing the Senate's third Honoring Canada's Black Artists exhibition. Let me briefly explain why these connect to Canadian Black Artists United. One of the goals in the UN decade, as reported to the UN General Assembly in 2015, is, quote, to promote a greater knowledge of and respect for the diverse heritage, culture, and contribution of people of African descent to the development of societies, plural, and greater knowledge of and respect for the culture, history, and heritage of people of African descent, and take all necessary measures to give full effect to the rights of people of African descent, end quote. You are doing this proactively and with commitment. I thank Yisa, too, for his part in the discussions and goal setting for Canada's real and virtual participation in the Pan-African Heritage Museum. I'm Canada's sole member of the museum's International Curatorial Council, and I'm going to tell you very aware that I'm the only white person involved in the whole organization internationally. So, thanks to many of my Black artist friends across this country, they formed the discussion team, and out of their work came the special content steering committee, and their work is terrific. I'm just a conduit for information. But in doing that, I can attest to the museum's highlighting Africa's diaspora's history, cultures, and national and global contributions. The museum's theme is the Sovereign Museum. The virtual museum's title is the African Knowledge Project, and you will be represented in both. Canada's focus through art from all disciplines is the past, present, and a platform for the future. Enabling young Black Canadians is paramount. The world will learn about the significance of Canada's Black artist contributions. And Canadians will learn a part of our history that has been ignored. And I believe that ignorance has led to enhanced racism and contributed to many societal concerns, including greater poverty in Canada's Black communities. Showing the real place of Black art in Canada's fabric will be a gateway for general public and education programs at every level. This is legacy work. Canada has many internationally acclaimed Black dancers and choreographers: Henry Daniels, Louis Cheyenne, musicians Drake, The Weeknd, Misha Bruger-Gosson, Oscar Peterson, artists Stan Douglas, Yisa Akambalaji, Denise Thomasas, Tim Whiten, Karen Jones, writers Lawrence Hill, Essia Duggan, poets Chantal Gibson, George Eliot Clark, filmmakers Sylvia Hamilton, only to name a very, very few, though many are thought of as Americans. Canada should be proud of them and honor them. At the same time, the Senate has been drawing attention to the importance of the work of Black artists in its Honouring Canada's Black Artists series. The first included BC's Chantal Gibson and Manitoba's Yisa Akambalaji. And I can tell you these were the first two Black artists ever to have work hanging on Parliament Hill in Ottawa. The second featured Ontario's Denise Thomasas and Tim Whiten, and the third is underway. I hope Canadian Black Artists United and these concurrent endeavours will reverse the marginalization of Black peoples and open the doors for established and emerging Black artists in the production and presentation of their work. Education, as noted in the UN report, is an enabling right. These projects are important contributors to education of and about Black history and realities. Your work in Canadian Black Artists United, coupled with these projects, will present facts, realities, and wider cultural understandings, thus increasing accessibility and opportunities. All this has been mirrored by UBC's Anthropology Museum's recent excellent exhibition, Sankofa, a milestone in recognizing Canada's Black history and the creativity of Canadian Black artists. And I know Yisa is connecting with some of them. The work of Canadian Black Artists United also ties into my declaration in the Senate respecting the essential role of artists and creative expression in Canada, currently before the Senate. It has received unanimous support from the Senate Social Affairs, Science and Technology Committee. And among its 10 principles, it talks about the freedom of expression and association to be accorded to all citizens, including artists. The right to know and participate in artistic memory, collections, and material and built heritage of all cultural diversities, which define our histories, experiences, and traditions. And it underlines that people of all cultural diversities and backgrounds have the right to take part in the arts, with access to attendance at artistic events, including music, literature, drama, visual arts, film, dance, and theatre. The Netherlands and Mexico highlighted the role of museums in their UN Decade projects, and the 5 UN General Assembly reports since 2015 discussed the need, quote, to promote pride in people's self-identification as Afro-descendant, and awareness raising about the principles of equality and non-discrimination, and the rights of people of African descent. Canadian Black Artists United is doing that. Sharna Jackson's book, Black Artists Shaping the World, showcases international Black artists. Not one Canadian is represented. Canadian Black Artists United may well change that for the next edition. We'll work on that together, Yisa. Embracing these projects as part of Canada's actions will have many worthwhile outcomes, those for Canada's international pride, for citizens at home, and with and in the arts. Throughout wider society, I hope these important steps will address access for Black Canadians to education, to our stages and galleries, and rail against racism and poverty. These are truly meaningful value propositions for Canada and Canadians. The leadership of Canada's Black artists working in all disciplines, and with whom I have been engaged these past many years, has been stellar. So too is Canadian Black Artists United. Your work here today is exciting, it's rich, it's honest, it's challenging, it's innovative. And you look to the past while build on the present, and I know that that will secure a good future. Thank you.